everyone and welcome to a new video. Today we are filming my April wrap up, which ended up being, sorry I need to scroll, 63 books. So granted, last month I read 76 books, so that was the most I ever read and I didn't beat that, and that was not the plan either. I don't know why I read so much in April. Honestly, this time I don't have any excuses. I just really went for one book a day, and then apparently much more than that. Audiobooks, manga, etc. contributed to my one book a day stats. So I obviously need to go through these like not super thoroughly. I think I vlogged basically all my reads as well, so I do talk about them more in those vlogs. I guess without further ado, let's talk about all the books I read in April. Starting off, I read The Lost Ranger by G.D.L. Russell. This was the last one I need to read of the finalists for Spiffball 9, and I have 2 Spiffball 9 vlogs up on my channel with more thoughts and like what I dubbed the winner for me. The official winner's now out, and for Mel's takeover, I believe it's going to be out very, very soon. Maybe even when you're watching this. I am not sure. This one just follows this hunter in the forest that goes on this journey to find out about the murder of the main character's mother, if I remember correctly. I personally didn't love this as much, so like the details has become a bit fuzz for me. But I liked the atmosphere of it. The way it was written was nice. Just like the plot and like the story, like I didn't care as much. I don't remember exactly the rating I gave it. Like the rating I would give it now is like 3. Then I read Monster, the Perfect Edition, Volume 1 by Naoki Urasawa. This basically follows this detective, and in the beginning of this at least, we have this case where we have this doctor who healed this person that seems to be evil, and then we go out on this investigation. And I didn't know at all what it was gonna like be exactly about. I knew it was like a murder thriller mystery thing and that we had a detective, but I didn't know that it was gonna be the same case the whole time. Right now we have like a long case. I wonder, is the case gonna be the same in all the 9 volumes? Or are we just gonna get development out of the same case? Or are we gonna like actually end this case and have a new one? I don't know. But I just assumed that every chapter would be like one small case or something. I don't know. But I obviously didn't think it would go this wild as it has gone so far. And I'm very intrigued to see how it will play out. Very, very excited. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm very happy I read some series because then I can put them all together. I did reread Ancillary Justice the month before. And then I read Ancillary Sword for the first time. I'm trying to hold the books in the right way. Ancillary Mercy. I also read Provenance. This is all books. Obviously, this is 2 and 3. And this is kind of 4, but it's a standalone. And then I also read Translation State. All by Anne Leckie, all in Imperial I can't say the word, series. And this was because Translation State was nominated for the Nebula in the finalists. I read all the Nebula finalists, which you will see throughout this video. I'll leave a link to that vlog down below as well. And then, therefore, for me, obviously I had to read all the books before in the series. I don't have Translation State physical yet, but I will very soon. I have it ordered. And I enjoyed it all immensely. It is a really, really cool world. In the first trilogy, at least, we follow, I don't want to call them IA, but like people who were coded, and then our main character was this huge person in several beings basically, and has now been forced into this one body. And then let's just say that the character is kind of out on like not necessarily revenge, but like to find out what really happened and why, but a bit revenge as well. And then we meet this other super grumpy character, and it's super, super fun. And then like we followed their journey in the first trilogy, and then different characters, this is even wrong, in the first trilogy, and like different other characters and like different stories within the world in the 4th and 5th book. Honestly, my favorite so far, I think maybe is Provenance. It was just something about the story that I absolutely really enjoyed. It just gave me all the right feels, but I just kind of want to reread them already. It's kind of story that just you can pick up so many things from it every time you read it, and it reminds me a lot of Murtagh, so if you enjoy that, you should read it. Honestly, I could talk about it more, but like we have a lot of books to get through. But yeah, I basically read the whole series, and now I'm waiting for more. I want more. Because I think a lot of standalones could be written in that series until the end of time, honestly. Then I read popular TikTok books, and I have a vlog for this as well on my channel. So again, more thoughts there. A lot more thoughts there. I will try to be quick here. First read Things We Never Got Over by Lucy's Score. My review of this is that a young, nice woman left a toxic relationship to enter a new one, and I absolutely hated it and gave it 1 star. Again, more thoughts in that vlog. Then I read A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. This is a Persephone and Hades retelling, and it was fine. Like, honestly, it was okay. It had magic. I enjoyed it okay. I would give it like 2.5 to 3 stars. I just like find, I guess, Hades and Persephone retellings a bit boring and redundant, because when I read one, I feel like I read them all, and I was like, oh, this is now not fun, you know? For me, at least for right now. Then I read Hunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. This basically follows a woman who gets stalked and, I was going to say, harassed and sexually assaulted and raped, and then she likes it, basically. And I was going to say no kink shame, but like, this was not it if you want to write about that kind of romance, in my opinion. I was like, I couldn't wrap my head around it. And I know maybe it's supposed to just be a fun and good time, and I was like, I'm not having fun, I'm suffering. So yeah, it was shit. Okay, next one. And then we have The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. And this one was the one I enjoyed the most, actually. I gave it like a solid 3.5, I would say. And this one just follows the psychiatrist who wants to treat this young woman who killed her husband, at least that's what people say, that haven't talked since, and he wants to make her talk again, and things escalate from there. It was fun, even though I feel like part of the story, the whole book, it just builds itself on a plot twist, kinda. And that's fine, but I just felt like that part of the story didn't make sense, because like, why did we have these other parts of the story then? And they were like just literally things that were contradicted and didn't make sense to me. So because of that, I like couldn't love it, but it was still like really like, I want to know what happens next, you know? And the last book I read for that vlog was Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow. This was kind of a book that reminded me when all the books were, everyone needed to be depressed in like the white contemporary sphere, which like fair, writing about depression and like mental health is very important, but it was like when, I don't even know what it's called anymore, the Jennifer Niven book, and like a lots of other books, like everyone was depressed and sad and no one was happy in a while in white contemporary, and it was like that, this book was in that period. And like, I never hated those books, but like, it was just fine, and I just couldn't care much about the story. I don't really get why, like, it wasn't amazing. I was just like, whatever. Then because of my list system, I read 18 and 19 and 20, all of Bungo Stray Dogs, and then we can take them together and we're really happy. So I've been in this arc / fight for 1 billion volumes, and we're still not over. And I'm like, at this point, I don't even remember how it started, but here things came out, things came into play. It was a good time. I obviously love it. I obviously having a good time. I just miss Dasai, okay? He's not as present right now. I still enjoy it, and I'm obviously going to read Bungo Stray Dogs until it ends, because I love it. But right now, I'm like, because I spent so long time between each volume, I'm like, let's get going, guys. But obviously I'm going to enjoy the story for what it is. Then I read Olivia's Catastrophes channel favorite books. Again, another vlog I will leave linked below. The first one I read for that was Maybe You Should Talk to Someone by Laurie Gottlieb. This one is about a psychiatrist who has made conversations based on her conversations with her patients, and then also her going to therapy after her boyfriend breaks off with her. A heartfelt story, but I just like kind of didn't care as much for the patients that I thought it would, because everyone was like, I'll cry, and I was like, eh. And I cared about her journey, and like it was interesting to see her talk to patients, and then like couldn't take that advice itself, because like that's really hard. And I liked those two like reflections. I don't think the book was terrible. I just felt like I didn't care as much about like the overall anything as other people seems to have. So I think I gave it like a 3. I don't remember anymore. Then I read Banana Fish 2 by Akemi Yoshida. This is actually still a reread. I read the 3-4 volumes before, but now I'm gonna read those, because now it is my main manga, because I bought all of Bungo Stray Dogs. It follows this Japanese character that comes to New York, and there's like a gangster environment, and we follow Ash, who has been abused his whole life and trying to find out the secret about banana fish that seems to be like this kind of drug. And then his brother was affected by it. And then there's this whole like mystery gangster plot thing. It's a good time. It's a good time. And everyone is gay, honestly. And I read The Terraformers by Amelie Nevitz. This one was for the Nebula again. And this one is just set in this world where we see the development over several thousand years. So it feels very like a huge scope kind of story, and made me feel existential dread. While I do think the story was more trying to make you seem like what you do actually matters over thousands of years. I just were like, no. But I do think that it was done well. I just like had a hard time connecting with the characters, because like time had passed and I was a bit confused but it was fine. I think I gave it like a 3. Then I read These Infinite Threads with Tara and Mafi. And this one literally had 0 plot and only vibes. There was like literally only dialogues between the characters. There was no development from the plot from the first book. And I absolutely loved it. Like, I don't know why, it just worked so incredibly well. And was just done so well. I was so intrigued and sucked in by these people. Even though there was no plot. I don't understand why I cared, but I cared deeply. And I looked at all the reviews, everyone saying that like there was no plot, but I loved it, and it's just so funny. And this one is the second book in this Woman Kingdom, and the first one is we follow my character who's a Jinn, and they have been like, I was going to say abolished in that country because the king had this like vision that a Jinn would take down his reign. And then they find out, and a hunt starts, and there is drama between her and the prince they met before, and yay. Then I read Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus, and this one was very, very annoying to me. It's about this woman that is a scientist, and she lives in the 1950s, so people didn't believe that women can be scientists. And then she's just like starts this TV show instead, and it's like, I get it why she started a TV show, by the way, because, well, she needed an income, and like there's nothing wrong with that, and she has a child without marriage, etc. But it was just a way that like it was trying so hard to be like feminist and like oh, and she's really smart and quirky, and I was just like, and she was very like coded, and I didn't understand if it was like done on purpose or if it was just like, oh, because she's super smart she needs to be like this way, and no one smart can be also very social and get social cues. And I was really confused of the whole thing, because I was like, are you writing her coded because she is and there's like no words for this in this time, or you're just doing it to make her quirky? I didn't get that. And it was just annoying how she talked like, oh, I'm gonna get H2O and put it in this stove, and I'm like, no one says that. Even a scientist wouldn't say that. The book annoyed me a lot, and it's just like really like one-sided kind of white feminist thing to me, and I just like, yeah, I didn't love it. It annoyed me. I think I gave it like a 2, maybe like 2.5. It was like, ugh. Then I read To Your Eternity, Volume 7 by Yujutsu Kaisen. I think one of my favorites volumes so far. So many things came to play and happen in here that I hadn't seen for a long time, done since like the beginning of the series. So I had a really, really good time. We follow this orb that can change into different beings, and I basically see this orb meet several different people and see how it affects the orb's life. And then like there's kind of these like enemies attacking the orb, and then you just need to figure it out for yourself. But it's really about discover the world and the beautifulness and sadness inside of it. So that's great and sad. Yay. Then I read The Lies Key by Mark Lawrence, the sequel to Prince of Fools. Didn't really care, just like I didn't care for the first one. And it follows this Viking dude and this other dude that's not a Viking, and they get this bond and they go on to this journey to save the Viking's family in the first one at least. I just feel like there was probably loads of cool stuff in it and just like plots and stuff, and I was like, I don't care. So I'm really sorry, that's all I got to say. Then I listened to The Fork, The Witch and a Worm by Christopher Paolini, which is like the short story collection in Allegacia. Very, very fun to see certain characters again. Made me incredibly happy. And then I also finished Murtagh on audio, which is also like the 5th book in the series, which follows Murtagh from the series. And I did really, really enjoy Murtagh, but I just there's a way like it's clearly set up for more books. Will we wait 10 years between each book annoys me, because I just kind of want it done in a way that like, okay, we are done for now. Here's a new trilogy that will actually release in this certain amount of time, not like I will release one book here and there when I feel like it. I don't know why that annoys me, because like I want to like be able to rely on the fact that the books are coming consistently. Lol. In fantasy, sound very funny, but I just mean that like it's very like up in the air, and I'm just like, give me what is actually happening. But either way, I enjoyed it. There was this cold thing, and I was like, this plot is weird. And overall, like, I didn't enjoy the plot as much as like in the other books. I just care a lot about like Murtagh and Thorn, but there was not enough of that in the book. It was just a lot of like dream stuff, and I was like, ugh, I hate dream sequences in everything. So overall, like, it was fine. Plot-wise, etc. was fine, but like I love the world and I love Murtagh so much that I did still give it 4 stars. I think plot-wise, etc. I should like maybe give it a 3, but 4 still because I still love it, you know? Then I read Mistakes Were Made by Mary Wilsner. This was my favorite book for the month, and it's a MILF book, as I didn't know apparently when I read it. And it follows this college student and then this doctor woman, and they have no one to stand, and I found out the college students friend that she just gotten in college is the doctor's daughter, and I'm like, we can't do this. And then I'm like, but can we? And like, you know, like all the like the typical like romance trope stuff, I feel like all of those stuff that I personally don't love were taken away and just were done into like this perfect balanced, not whiny, piney book for these characters, and just it was just perfect for me, and it just had all the elements I really enjoy in a romance, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. And honestly, I already want to reread it. So good. Then I read Neon Gods by Katie Robert. This was again a Persephone and Hades retelling. And as I said before, this also made me know, it's like, oh my god, when you take away the magic from these people, it is even more boring. Like, they're not even like gods in this one. It was just like gangsters. And I'm like, oh my god. So again, I didn't really care. I don't know. It went also from like 0 to 100 with like 6 parts, and I was like, ugh, no build up whatsoever. Disappointed. So I give it like a 3. Then I read Path of Daggers by Robert Jordan. This is book 8 in the Wheel of Time, and we had a live show in April, so I had to finish before that, and I did. We are in the slog, so nothing is happening, but I read it. Not my favorite, honestly. I'm like, what was the point in that book? Don't know, but apparently the next one is the one I like the least. That's a bit funny to me, I don't know why. Then I read 3 omnibuses of One Piece in a month, which I honestly think is impressive. They're in the wrong order. This was most of Water Salmon, with one before that I read last month apparently. I was very confused because I thought I read that this month, but it doesn't seem like it. Anyway, I posted a 2-hour and 41-minute vlog on my channel where I read through all of Water 7, so you should watch that. But honestly, amazing, incredible, the best thing ever. Full of Luffy and his Straw Hat pirate crew. He wants to be the king of the pirates and going after the One Piece. We go from island to island and make us reader cry. And it was incredible. Loved it. Loved the story so much. Loved these characters so much. I don't know what else you want me to say, but again, 2 hours and 41 minutes, go and enjoy. Then I read Ariel by Sylvia Plath, which is a poetry collection. And I do think that probably part of this was very beautiful. And like, I know people really love poetry. I have a hard time understanding poetry and everything that's written in it, and obviously you can read it without understanding like every single thing what it means, but I also don't want to read poetry and like look up everything and see the meaning either. But like, I enjoy the vibes and some were fine. I also do realize it's written in a different time, so certain words and stuff I was like, oh, it was okay. I don't love it because like poetry for me doesn't work, at least from where I am right now in my life, but I read it and it was fine. Like, I didn't hate it or anything because I don't really feel like I can make an opinion about it, if you know what I mean. Then I read The Black Goddess Drums by P. Jelly Clark. Really enjoyed it. It was a very like short like Tor novella book, and it follows this young girl who has one of the Orisha gods inside of her, and then she goes on to this journey to prove that she can be part of this pirate crew kind of. And it was just very fun. I really enjoyed it. It was very short. I wish it was more, but it was just really cool and just managed to hit all the right places. So a really good, solid story. Then I read Sing If You Can't Dance by Alexia Casale. And this one follows this young girl who was a dancer, and then she suddenly gets this disability that makes her limbs and joints go out of like the joints. I don't even know how to describe it, and other pains and stuff is happening. So she can't dance anymore, and she really is pissed at like life in general, which I completely get. And then this boy starts at her school that has like this really like prominent scar in his face, which is not necessarily what brings them together, but like they both have different things that make them stand out at least. And then they need to do this music festival thing for a grade in school. And I liked parts of this a lot. I really enjoyed our main character and her journey and realizing that, well, realizing many things in life. And it was really difficult to read about her like medical journey because there was so much pain there, and it was really painful to read. And I thought I was done really, really well. And I really, really enjoyed like the general characters, the best friends, the other characters, the side characters. I thought it was done well. It was just something about like, I don't know why, but like that like we were gonna do all these things for a grade in school, and I was like, I don't care. And I guess like I know it feels like the end of the world when you are in like, I mean, they weren't in high school because they were like in the UK. I don't know what it was called. It was called Provenance. And I get it because obviously you should try to do your best. But like for me, as old as I am now, I'm like, I don't care about this grade. I don't care about this plot. I just wish it was about something else that was happening on page that was driving the story forward. Because I cared about a lot of other things in it. And there was too many Harry Potter references. Hated that. For a book that came out in what I think it was 2022, 2023. It made my job be like, ew. So like in the end, I liked a lot of parts, but I disliked a lot of parts. It was really weird balance. So I don't know, I gave like 3.5. Then I reread City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. I read this before and I really didn't like it the first time as much. I just had like meh memories. Kind of a mini reading slump the year I read it, but that is also like 4 years ago. So I always wanted to read the rest of the series, and I knew at the point that I should probably reread this first one because I knew that I didn't like remember a lot from the first time I read it. And I ended up enjoying it much more. I could really appreciate like more of like the political landscape, the things that were playing out in the end, and just like all of our characters. So I ended up really very much enjoying it more. I gave it like a 4, while the first time I gave it like a 3 that later has like become like a 2.5. But definitely like, I was like, oh my god, this is so much fun. I'm very excited to read the next one now, which everyone says is the best one. So I'm very excited. Follows a young girl that has like these special abilities. I keep itching my nose, I'm really sorry. And she summons by accident this djinn, and then is taking this like magical city for djinns. And there was like many different like political elements happening in the city, and it was just a very, very fun time. And now I'm very excited to read the next one. Yay! Then I read The Saint of Bright Doors by Vaira Chandrasekhara. And I personally didn't love this because I didn't really understand it. I just like had a hard time following the writing, and I was just like, what is going on? No idea still. Might try it again later, but like I was like, I don't understand. So that's what I got to say. Then we have Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 21 by Gege Akutami, which again, speaking of not understanding anything, I don't know who a single character in this volume was almost. I was like, who are you? Who are you? How are you? What's going on? No idea. Excited for volume 22. And I read Shigidi and the Brass Head of Obalufon by Vol Talabi. And this one I really enjoyed. This one follows this to, I was going to say, Band of Mischiefs. We have like set in this world where like spirituality, I was going to say, and like the god world, etc. is like incorporated. So like a main character worked this corporate job collecting certain like spirits, etc. and hated his life. And then he made this deal with his succubus, and now he can change his forms as he wants to. And they were also banished from this world because they broke the rules. And now they're having the chance to come back again if they steal this brass head of Obalufon. Not really a heist, but it is a bit of a heist. And then we have like these chaotic main characters, but also just flashbacks of how they got to know each other and how they started to trust each other. And it was beautiful. And also flashback for like the backstory for the characters as well. And I really, really enjoyed it. It was just, wow. I was scared that I wouldn't understand this, as I didn't understand the Saint of Bright Doors. But it was just like, so much fun, and I was very happy. So very much recommend, and I give it 4 out of 5. Then I finished one of my buddy reads, which was All the Lovers in the Night by Meiko Kawakami, which I buddy read with Johanna. And this one I don't really understand everything. I was going to say the way that like it was weird and atmospheric, just like all the translated works. So granted, it is on like track with that, but I just like kind of didn't get point of this. We have like this proofreader, and then she meets this dude, and it like disrupts her every day. Like she lives very like day to day in the same way life, and then the book ends, and I was like, oh. So like, but I sound very negative, but I really enjoyed it because I enjoyed just like these like translated works, at least like Japanese and Korean fiction. I found them like very similar. Sometimes like the way they are in atmosphere are very similar to each other, and every time I'm like, what? But then I really enjoyed it. So I give it like a 4. Like, I sounded super negative and but I actually really enjoyed it, even though I didn't understand it. You know what I mean? I don't know if you're supposed to understand it, honestly. Then I read at least 2 Fullmetal Alchemists, but I thought honestly it was more. I don't know. But I read 7, 8, 9 and 10, 11, 12. And I really, really enjoyed them. There's a full vlogs on my channel reading both of these. Really, really enjoyed the story so far. Very excited to see where it will go because I have no idea. But the fact these were brothers that had this accidental, I was gonna say, alchemistic resurrection of their mother, and then one of them lost his body and the other one lost his arm and his leg, and they're trying to get their bodies back as they used to, while at the same time working for the government. And there's a whole thing going on there, truly. And I read Into the Crooked Place by Alexander Christo, which was another brother read with Justine. This is like a heist thing. Almost, not really, but a bit. We have these 4 characters that live in this like underworld thing, and stuff happens, and I just didn't care honestly about a single thing that happened in this book. I hated almost all the characters, especially like the main dude. I was such a cat wannabe that I wanted to scream, and just the way it was told, just the way the story was, like, made me care about nothing. I can't believe I read a book that is like 500 pages long and they managed to write about absolutely nothing, and me and Justine were just dying every day reading through this book. But we did it. And I'm like, oh my god, I have a sequel as well. Murder me! Read Witch King by Murtagh Wells. This one is a new book by the author where we have this person, I don't even know, I don't remember if they were royal, but like this noble that woke up and had been killed. And I'm like, I feel like these characters, what was it again? They keep being, like, he was at least resurrected. And then he's trying to find out why he was assassinated or killed. Basically, I was trying to describe it in a different way, but I gave up. I, again, didn't really understand much of this book. I was very confused. Maybe I will try it again later because I wanted to really like it, but it was a very confusing book. Apparently, I read a lot of confusing books this month. Or, yeah, I don't have much more to say on that. Then I read Snow White with the Red Hair by Sarata Akiduki, and this did not play out at all as I thought it would. So it's not like I disliked it because of this, but I was just like, is there a point to this volume in a way? So I wish I loved it more. So far, I'm not loving the series. I'm liking it fine, but I want to love it. So I'm hopeful it will grow more on me after a while. I read The Water Outlaws by S.L. Huang. This one, it follows this arms master who is basically sexually harassed and like scammed. And then she joins this like banditry group in the countryside, and then like there's conflict growing between them and like the government, and it was fun. It was good. I enjoyed the elements of the story. I liked seeing how things played together. Yay! Then I read Diary of a Void by Emi Yagi, which turned out to be a much deeper story than I thought it would be, because it is about this young woman who pretends she is pregnant, so people would literally stop harassing her and just be misogynistic in general. And I just thought it would just be like more like funny, and it is funny, but honestly it was just more about like loneliness and how she finds people that like actually talk and care about her, and it really like got into your heart after a while. And I honestly didn't know it was going to be have that much heart in a way, and I was honestly impressed. Like, this pregnancy scam was honestly impressive. I ended up really, really liking it. I had so much heart. Then I read The Spirit Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez. Wish I loved this more, honestly. I found it not as comprehensible as like The Vanished Birds, which I really, really loved. I didn't love this as much. I thought the writing was beautiful, but I didn't like love the book itself. It follows this god has escaped from her family that has like captured her and used her power, and now they're like trying to end this regime once for all and go on to this 5 days journey. And like, I wish I loved it more. I feel like maybe I should try it again, maybe on audio, and see if I will love it then more. But like, it was fine, just like not what I thought it would be. Then I read Linger by Max Dewater, which is the second book in Wolves of Mercy Falls, and I thought I would hate it because honestly the first book was not it. I'm not saying that this book was great either, but it kind of had me intrigued enough to be like, okay, these conversations are stupid, the parents are stupid, I'm entertained. I was entertained by the people, and ending was kind of fun, and it's about this girl and this boy, and one of them is a werewolf, and romance blossoms basically. But I need to read the rest anyway because it was picked out the series I need to finish this year, so I will read the rest, and I just like, fine, they're like easy chill reads, so let's go. And I read Saints Blood by Sebastian de Castell. It's the third book in the Great Coast series, which the Great Coast were like the king's greatest army, and then like they came in disgrace after thinking that they betrayed the king, and they are building themselves up again and building this kingdom back up again. I still think that the second book was superior, and I absolutely love that. And I still really enjoyed this one. I enjoyed the character so much. I enjoyed this world so much. But it didn't have all the elements that made me love the second book, like, as a favorite forever. But still super enjoyable to follow these characters and see this journey soon to the end after I read the fourth and last book. Then I read Tokyo Revengers 3 and 4 by Kanda Wakui. In the beginning of this, I was so confused because it'd been a while since I've seen the characters. And I was like, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? But then when they all came together, and like in the end, I was like feeling so many things for these characters and these people. So it was such a good time, and I'm now I can wait for the next one because I'm like, what's gonna happen now? And it was this dude that travels 14 years, is 14 or 13, 12 years back in time to save lives basically, and it's 12 years exactly. So yeah, it's a good time. Then I finished Demon Slayer, which is sob, I'm gonna sob, and it was last volume. And honestly, I thought also it was a bit rushed, which I saw other people also say, but it was a beautiful, beautiful story, and I love all the characters and I love all the people. I just thought that the last epilogue, I was like, this is a bit weird. So I wish, not necessarily they ended differently, but just like that we seen more in the end than what we saw in a way. But it was still super enjoyable, and I enjoyed the story for what it was, and I really love the world, and I love this series. But I don't think it's going to go down as a favorite series of all time, but nonetheless a series that I enjoyed immensely. Then I read Emperor of Ruin by Django Wexler. So this one is the final book in Silver Eye and Burning Blade, or Burning Blade and Silver Eye basically, and it follows these two siblings that were separated when they were a kid. One of them basically has joined like the opposite of like the state, etc. Another one works for them and works closely with them. The paths crosses again, and they need to work together. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the series overall. I thought it was a good, solid, fun fantasy series. I just don't think I was like mind blown by the series, the best thing ever, but I still enjoyed so many elements of it. And it's a series that I would definitely read again in a few years. Someone tell me to not read this much because then I need so long wrap-ups. And then for my little spring readathon, which I didn't complete, but I did read 8 volumes of Sweat and Soap, which I'm showing you very badly. Sweat and Soap. I want to show you a cover. They're flying around, they're really slippery. And I didn't get to finish the series as I planned, but I will hold this. But it was still a really, really good time of what I did read. I have still the rest of the series, and now I don't know what to do with those. But it follows this dude that has a very sensitive nose, and he smells this girl, and it's like the best smell in his whole world, and he wants her, and she wants him. And they start this beautiful, consensual, communicative relationship that melt my heart. And I was like, why is this so enjoyable? Why are these people so cute? I hate them, and I love them at the same time, because like, I hate them because they could be so adorable, and it was honestly so far the best time, and I cannot wait to like finish it. I wish I had 40 refund as I planned, but such is life sometimes. Such is life. But I'm hoping to finish it when I feel lonely and sad that I don't have this relationship. Then I read I Hope This Doesn't Find You by Adeline. This one was a super cute book where it's like the opposite of the other books you loved before, and our main characters all like hate mail comes out instead of like her love letters, and then the boy that has been her rival since she was young and gets all like these mails that she's written about him, and it's the hilarious, most adorable thing. And I loved just her character and how, I was going to say how much she has sacrificed and how much she never put herself first and how much she like develops, etc. It was beautiful, and I really, really, really liked it. Then I finished my reread of Yellowface by Rebecca Kwong, and it was obviously amazing, incredible, loved it, 5 out of 5 stars. So obviously it follows this white woman who steals the book of this dead Asian woman, and I was going to say chaos and catastrophe, that now I can't say. Catastrophe explodes, and it was incredible. I loved it. I love what the story does in a way that it comments on so many things of like the life of a author, the life of the publishers, Twitter, and all the good stuff. Honestly, incredible. Then I read Fugitive Telemetry by Murtagh Wells, which is the 6th Murtagh book and the second to last for a Murtagh read along in my Patreon. I did really, really like this, as always, because Murtagh is an incredible character to follow, and it was a good time. I don't know what more to say, but I enjoyed it. Then I read Godly Heathens by H.E. Agdman. For some reason I thought this was adults, but even getting over that initial shock, I just didn't love the story. It just didn't work for me. It just had elements in the story that was presented in a way that I was like, I don't care about anything, I don't care about the story. So it follows this young non-binary teen, and then they found out that they are a reborn god, and it could have been cool, but it was just not working for me. Even though we had a really cool rap, we had a poly relationship maybe developing, it was just very like whiny, and I was like, it's making me not care. Even though from the beginning and to the end I did care a bit more, and I thought it was some stuff was a bit fun playing out. It was just a story that didn't work for me, but I feel like other people could enjoy it. It was just not, the way it was told was just not for me. And the last book for April, which I was about to say May, and which I hope is correct because I accidentally skipped shuffle things around by accident. We have Land of the Lustrous by Haruko Ichikawa. Follows the story where we have like crystal people and they keep breaking and then they attack Millenarians, and it's super weird but super fun. And in this one, things develop like suddenly super fast after being in this story for like 8 volumes before this, even though I feel like I've been in it for like 5 years because I've been reading them so slowly. You were just like, let's rapid speed everything. And I was like, what is going on? It's crazy right now, but it's a good time. It's a good time. And I'm excited to see where the story will play out. And that was all the, what was it again, 63 books. I already forgotten the number that I read. And I'm exhausted from just talking about all these books. But I hope you enjoyed this super great wrap up, but yes, honestly no time for reviews. But again, a lot of vlogs for these. I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a diamond emoji down below if you enjoyed this, and you should see me soon in a new one. And yeah, bye.